If I asked you to picture a pirate, what image comes to mind? Dude with a peg leg, parrot on his shoulder, map in his hand, X marks the spot that leads to the buried treasure. Well, this pervasive, universal image of the pirate comes to us not by history, but by Robert Louis Stevenson in his classic adventure novel, Treasure Island. The power of the novel is not confined to its impact on the individual reader. No, novels have the power to shape popular culture and affect the lens by which we view history. A novel is a long fictional narrative written in prose. Much like the myths and the short stories that we've studied before, novels tend to have the basic story elements and follow a typical narrative structure. However, because of the novel's length, it can handle multiple subplots and several different conflicts. The array of characters can be varied and more complex, and the protagonist's journey can be one of great depth and transformation. The novel that we're going to be reading during this unit is the classic and highly influential adventure novel, Treasure Island. Treasure Island was written by Robert Louis Stevenson, the son of a lighthouse engineer. Stevenson was born in Edinburgh, Scotland in 1850. He was an only child, and because he suffered from unrelenting bronchial illnesses throughout his childhood, he was often kept out of school. Illness followed Stevenson into his adult life, and although described as extremely thin and often weak, he traveled widely and wrote prolifically. Treasure Island is a tale of adventure and suspense, told from the point of view of protagonist Jim Hawkins. Jim inadvertently enters the world of greed and piracy on an expedition to find buried treasure. Treasure Island was originally serialized in a periodical that ran during the years 1881 and 1882, but it was officially published as a novel in 1883. Even though the original intended audience of Treasure Island was young and male, the book's non-stop action, gritty suspense, and colorful characters, not to mention its rather challenging vocabulary and syntax, have left it very popular across the reading spectrum. In Treasure Island, Stevenson gives us a coming-of-age story that recreates the classical hero's journey. Our protagonist is given a call to adventure and must leave the known to explore the unknown. Along the way, they must overcome challenges, enemies, tests, and decide whom to follow as mentor and guide. But most importantly, our protagonist is transformed by the experience. And finally, I know I've said it before, but Stevenson's effect on culture has been pervasive. Much of what we see today in pirate costumes, movies, pop culture doesn't come from the historical record. No, it comes from the complex characters created by the author and described in this novel. So, although Robert Louis Stevenson died at age 44, his influence lives on today. During this unit, we are going to be exploring background information and historical details in little sections that I like to call points to peruse. So be sure to go over these before your assigned chapters so that you can lay a foundation for understanding the material and set a purpose for reading. You will also be writing a chapter log, similar to a ship's log, that'll help you organize information and deconstruct the plot. We are also going to be reviewing various skills that help with reading comprehension, such as explicit versus implicit ideas, making inferences, understanding relationships, analyzing word choice, and analyzing the structure of the text. You will also engage in various types of writing each week, and don't worry,
we haven't forgotten about the grammar. During this unit, you are going to be exploring the building blocks of the sentence. First, we'll tackle phrases with a review of the prepositional, appositive, and infinitive phrases, and some new ones as well, the participial and gerund phrases. After that, we'll work with clauses with a review of the independent and subordinate clauses, followed by an introduction to the noun and relative clauses. If you find that you enjoy this Robert Louis Stevenson classic, then I might suggest you check out some of his other work, like Kidnapped, The Master of Ballantrae, The Wrecker, or even The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Maybe you'd enjoy the work of other classic novelists like Jane Austen, Charles Dickens, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Zora Neale Hurston, or Louisa May Alcott.
Or maybe you'd like a more contemporary author like Jenny Han or John Green, Colston Whitehead, Veronica Roth, Jacqueline Woodson, or S.E. Hinton. Through novels, authors create complex narratives that, if written well, will leave a lasting impression on the reader. And who knows, maybe you'll be inspired to write a novel of your own after this. As Robert Louis Stevenson once said, the difficulty of literature is not to write, it's to write what you mean. Not to affect your reader, but to affect him as precisely as you wish. Enjoy your journey to Treasure Island, my friends, and may you come away from it richer for the experience.